Good evening, friends. We are so glad to have so many of you here. Seen many of you in the colleges while we were campaigning. And many of you have enrolled for the causes. We just want to thank all of you for that. You know, as we are sitting here, I'm sure many of us want to continue to be here in an atmosphere of this excitement and enjoy it for some more time. Deep inside, we all know that life is not like this. There are so many students here. Tell me honestly, how many of you have not really wished that your class would be a lecture would be a little more exciting? How many of you have not wished that the wretched 7 o'clock class would have only commenced at 11 a.m.? Then you would have made that impossible looking 75% attendance. Has it happened to you that somehow you woke up in the morning and you've gone to the class, and then did you wonder, which class is it? It has happened to me. Has it happened to you that you have gone to the shop to photocopy something and then the Xerox wala knows the syllabus better than you? You know, and those assignments, think about them. They've given a month back, but the ideas don't come, and it only comes the night before submission. How wonderful it would be if life had gone as we have planned and it is filled with exciting moments. But deep inside, we all know that's not how life is. There are so many things that we want to do, we want to have, we want to become. But it seems to be beyond our reach. It seems to be elusive. It seems to be something which we cannot attain. Is there anybody here who says, I've never experienced failure in my life? Is there anybody here who says, you know, I've never faced rejection, or there is no mess whatsoever in my life? For a few moments, I just want to talk about that, though I'm talking to the students particularly, but it applies to all. And when we talk about failure and rejection and messiness and all of this, before that, let's just look at how do we measure success. How does a typical student in India measure success? I think after researching a lot, four things I found. The first way we measure success, whether we are successful or not, is by comparing abilities. We are always comparing ourselves with somebody. Able to run, sing, play, memorize, read, write, act, speak, debate, better than somebody or not. If only we are able to do a little better than others, or our peers or our neighbor, we would be successful. The second way we measure success for many of us is we compare results. Do you remember the movie Three Idiots? In that movie Three Idiots, there is an amazing scene. It is, you know, the examination results have come and all the students are scurrying in to look at the results. Rancho's two friends, as expected, find their name at the bottom of the list. But they are still happy that they have passed the exam. But soon they are dejected that they do not find the name of Rancho. And they move apart feeling dejected that their friend has not even passed his exam. But in a moment of enlightening, they come back to look at the result and they find Rancho's name at the top of the list. And at that moment, the narrator interjects and says this: when your friend fails, you feel sad. But when the same friend comes first, you feel even more sad. Do you remember the time that you got the unit test? Yeah, the teacher corrected it and gave it back. If you were more curious about anything other than your own marks, was how much did your neighbor get? We're always comparing results. If it would be only a little more then we consider ourselves to be successful. The third way we compare ourselves to be successful is comparing things. It is so typical, isn't it? If somebody builds a house, the person next building wants to build a little higher or a little broader or a little wider. Always comparing things. The money that we spend, the trendiest gadgets that we carry, the bikes that we own, the particular brands that we wear. It's a measure of success for many. And the fourth way, how many people compare success is by the network they have, the friend circle they have, especially in the colleges, the gang that you are part of. I'm sure you have come across people whom I call as name droppers. Suddenly in the conversation, they will drop big names, as if to tell that they are part of some other league, to show how important they are. For many, girlfriends and boyfriends are only statements. Comparing friends. I'm not saying that these are not important. You must know your abilities, harness it, develop it. You must, use the gadgets, make your life comfortable. You must aspire for good results, not just in the academics, but in all areas of your life. And in our times, it is so important to have good friends and network. Sometimes they are the ones who stand behind us. But you know what? None of this is true measure of success, because you are unique. You are different. And because you are unique and you are different, the only person to whom you can compare yourself is you. It is true that failure is painful. Therefore, nobody wants to have failure. Nobody wants to experience failure because it is personal, it is painful. But the fact of life is we all experience failure. Failure in academics, in relationship, in career, in character, in health, in wealth. In so many ways we experience failure. But you know what? Failure is not the end. Your mistakes are not the end. The messiness that you have in your life is not the end. The rejection that you face is not the end. What you think as the end is only a bend. Turn to your neighbor and say, turn your end to bend. Come on, go on. Turn your end to bend. It's not an end. It's only a bend. How do we make that end into a bend? From my own life, I want to just leave 3 things with you. I've come many times back from failure, so I can tell you. The first thing, know the purpose of your life. You are not like Maruti Swifts that is coming out of the factory with only a different chassis number behind your back. You are unique. You're different. Compare yourself with yesterday, with last week, with last month, with last year. Have you grown? Have you improved? If you have grown, if you have improved, no matter what the world says, you are successful. As long as you are growing, as long as you are improving, as long as you are going in the direction of your purpose, you are successful. Secondly, learn to love yourself. The truth is, none of us are perfect. None of us. Many times we look at people who are successful. I've met a lot of them, counseled a few of them. They look so successful from outside, but inside, terrible failure. In fact, for some people, the reason why they aspire to be successful from outside is somehow to bear the pain of the failure inside. As long as we are doing things for money, as long as we are doing things for fear of punishment, we are not free. Many of us do things for the approval of others. We get addicted to approval. Good person, good friend, good boy, good friend, good worker, good this, good that. If you want to be successful, learn to love yourself. Do not overestimate yourself, which leads to pride and overconfidence. Do not underestimate yourself, which leads to inferiority complex, the step behind depression. Learn to love yourself. If you want to be successful, learn to love yourself. Do the right thing. Take care of your physique. Take care of your body. Feed the right things to your mind. If you do not have a self-respect, you will not be able to respect others. If you do not love yourself, you will not be able to love others. This is not self-centeredness. We need to have self-respect and self-love. Learn to love yourself. Thirdly and finally, the thing that I learned in my life and the story of many of my friends who have shared here, accept the forgiveness of God. Now, there are times that we mess up. We want to go back and say, I want to stop. I want to quit. I want to start all over again. I've done that many times. God's mercy is greater than our mistakes. God's love is greater than our failure. If we would come back to Him and say, I want to do it again, you will find hope. Your mistakes are not the end. You know, in Jaipur, Rajasthan, there are many carpet weaving houses. And they employ young boys because their small hands can weave tiny knots, which makes the carpet more valuable. Now, children, as usual, they make mistakes. But if the weaver is a good weaver, a master weaver, what he would do is he would take that mistake and turn it into a beautiful design. Allow God that to do with your life. So I say to you again, failure is not the end. Mistakes are not the end. The messiness in your life is not the end. Rejection is not the end. What you think is an end is only a bend. Turn your end to a bend. Know the purpose of your life. Learn to love yourself. Accept the forgiveness God gives you. And begin again for the future, the great future ahead of you. Thank you.